What's up, Marcus? How you doing today?
Hey, Mark, how you doing? Always good to come back on the show.
Yes, sir. Well, how'd your week go for fantasy?
Uh, I had a graveyard on my bench, right? All my running backs were on bye or IR. I'm experiencing a lot of injuries. Uh, as you know, Hampton just went out, lost him, and so not so good. I was out of 4 leagues. Obviously I beat you. We split the 2 leagues, right? And then my other 2 leagues didn't do too well, but it's still early in the season, and
Yep.
my schedule's still looking pretty good. I think I'm 3-1 now. So yeah,
Yeah. So overall, you're doing okay, right?
yeah. I've still got a plus 500. Yeah, of course. Yeah. But now it's
Nice.
getting. I was looking at your list. I'm looking at the waiver wire, and none of these players are on our. we got a pretty deep league, right? So
Yeah.
on a 14-man league, you don't have the luxury of having folks hanging around on the waiver wire.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So some of these names will be hit or miss, right? So what I try to do is get players that are um, under typically under 50% owned, throughout Yahoo. But some of them are going to be, a little closer to 60, 65. But I try not to target players that are over 65% because they're, for the most part, not out there in most leagues.
Yeah. No, agreed. No, agreed. So yeah, I mean, injuries. Is just I would say these last 2 weeks. I mean, or last 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, you're just seeing some big players go down, right? CeeDee Lamb,
Mm-hmm.
um, Joe Burrow. I mean, Brock Purdy's dealing with was he dealing with the foot issue, right? Isn't he turf toe?
Yep.
And Brock Purdy, right? Um, the running back issues, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
had Hubbard go down, I had Benson go down out of
Mm-hmm.
out of the Cardinals, right? And then now I got that rookie out of the Chargers. As I see, he's on the backups on your list, Hassan Haskins, which
Yeah.
has a favorable game coming up against a weak run defense, right?
Yeah.
So
Agreed. Yeah, it looks like Hampton got put on IR yesterday, and so it looks like he's going to miss at least 4 games. But he was setting up to run away with that backfield with Najee Harris going down for the year, and so now they're down to their third string running back. And I saw it was Haskins. It looks like I went and watched his college tape of the his highlights on YouTube yesterday, and it looks like he was with the Michigan Wolverines. I think he was a part of that team that won the national championship,
oh, when they were
and
stealing the signs,
yeah, and as it turns out, his coach, the coach for the Chargers,
yeah,
actually coached him at Michigan, so that might be a good fit.
yeah. So, based on the list, I saw him on the waiver wire on a couple of our leagues. So I've already, the leagues where I literally lost 3 or 4 running backs, I've already sort of put a claim down on them. So
Yep. Well, that's good. Let's get into the list, and then we'll get to Haskins as we scroll through it. So first on the list, I've got for quarterbacks. Matt Stafford, he's been dynamite lately, especially these last 2 games. In week 5, he posted 389 passing yards for 3 touchdowns. So he's been delivering. He had a little bit of a slow start to start the season, but man,
yeah,
he's been
yeah.
fantastic lately.
Oh, agreed. Yeah, you could definitely tell his productivity, especially with Puka Nakua. I mean, that's obviously his go-to receiver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so with that receiving crew that he has, you can definitely tell. And also too his running back. Yeah, I mean, he has a great running back,
Williams.
Williams back there. Even though I
Yep.
think he fumbled this past week on the 1 yard line, but he clearly had that loss. I mean, as you can see, it goes down to the kickers, but I think that was a big turning point with Kyrie and Williams. But nevertheless, you're right. Matthew Stafford, his productivity is definitely going on an upward tick.
Yeah,
And
he's looking good. I had him. I played him actually week 4 while Jaden Daniels was out, and I was real impressed with his numbers. I saw San Francisco coming up, and I thought that might be a bit of a tough matchup, so I dropped him and played Jaden Daniels. But I really wish I would have just kept him. So I'm going to be looking to pick him back up
pick
on
it
the
back
waiver
up.
wire and maybe drop my weakest wide receiver just to have some depth out there because
Yeah,
I'd like
yeah.
to play him against Baltimore. I bet he's going to have a fantastic week,
Yeah,
week 6.
agree. Yeah, agree. He's definitely going to have a favorable matchup against Baltimore, especially
Yeah.
with their defense just riddled with,
Hmm.
inconsistencies and injuries. So you can definitely see that.
Yeah. The Ravens are in crisis mode right now. Even Henry can't seem to get going, and if it looks like they have a bye coming up as far as the Ravens do, so I'm pretty sure they're going to keep Lamar out for at least one more game, let him rest up, and come back after the bye. So with that defense, the state they're in, I think the Rams are going to boat race them. So
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. I would definitely say that he's going to have a solid performance against Baltimore.
Agreed. So he's 63% owned, just a little bit under 65%. So not out there in a ton of leagues, but about 37% of the leagues he's out there. So
Yeah, yeah.
if you can't find Matt Stafford, you can perhaps turn to Sam Darnold. He had a terrific game last week. He 341 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. So that was quite a shootout with Baker Mayfield. The two of them were just going back and forth with touchdowns, and so Uga Booga looks fantastic. That Ohio State receiver for the Bucks. I wish I could have got him somewhere in the draft,
Oh,
but
yeah. He looks really good. Yeah, Tampa Bay's offense is, I would say, firing on all 6 cylinders. So,
yep.
it's
But
definitely.
getting back to Sam, I picked him up in the our Superflex league, League of Champions, and so I've been running with him and Josh Allen as my two
Oh,
quarterbacks, and so
that's nice. Josh Allen's always a good pick.
yep. Yeah, so Sam's been coming on lately, looking good against Tampa, and had a bit of a slow start in Week 1 against San Fran, but he's been getting over 20 a week, and then fight because he's got Jackson to throw to, which is another Ohio State receiver that is dynamite.
Yep. Agreed. So
All
I
right, so
actually
let's
found
move
him
on
on the
to the
waiver
next.
wire in one of the leagues, so I've already put a claim on Sam because
You did,
I was playing Geno, and quite honestly, the Raiders' offense has just been a dud for the last couple weeks.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I could
agreed.
play it
Yeah,
third. I could play
the
it third
Raiders
string.
are a dumpster fire, so stay away
Yeah,
from them if you can.
yeah. As I said, it's slim pickings. It's hard out there, especially
Hmm.
when you got a 12 to 14 man league. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
agreed.
but agreed. Yeah, I would completely go Sam Darnold over Geno Smith based upon the way they're playing and their schedule. So I agree.
Yeah. I mean, next week with Jacksonville, that's going to be. They're actually looking pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, their defense is definitely their strength. They ended up beating the Chiefs last night, and I think it was mainly their defense that kept them in that game and got the win.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's going to be a
Agreed.
bit of a tough matchup for Sam, but it's a home game, so I think he'll be up to the task. I think he'll get at least 20. We'll see. I don't think it's going to be another 41-point game, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Agreed. It's definitely going to be a tough matchup next week.
So 31% owned for Sam Darnold out there in about 70% of the leagues. And if you can't find either Matt or Sam, there's another option here, Mac Jones. He looked terrific last Thursday night in that divisional game against the Rams. Threw for 342 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's got a lot of grit, man. I saw him take a ton of hits, but he kept getting back up and fighting. So
I think he.
I
I think he was even almost to the point of like dry heaving on the sideline. Remember when he came out?
mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, he definitely
And
took a
he
licking.
Yeah, he definitely took some hits. He's got Tampa Bay coming up, so I think that could be another boat race, similar to what the Seahawks just went through with the Bucks.
Well, when's Purdy coming back? Isn't he coming
Well,
back pretty soon?
I don't think so. I think Purdy's going to remain out. He's got turf toe, similar to what Joe Burrow has. Not necessarily as severe. They didn't need to put him on IR, but I've got a feeling that they're going to stick with Mac because he's been winning games. He's played at least, I think, in several of the past few games. So he's won 2 out of 3. So I've got a feeling they'll probably stick with Mac for a bit and give Purdy the time he needs to heal up.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can see that happening.
All right, so that's it for quarterbacks. Let's move on to running backs. I know that they're pretty slim pickings out there, but we talked earlier, Marcus, about Hampton going down, and so this is the next man up, Hassan Haskins from Michigan. Like I said, he played college ball there. His highlight reel looks pretty good. I watched that on YouTube, and looks like a pretty decent running back to fill in. He's going up against Miami, and that's the team that Rico Dowdle just blew up yesterday. So this might be an opportunity for success.
Yeah, no, agreed. Yeah, yeah. Miami's defense and plus Miami's offense has been pretty stagnant these last couple weeks. So I could definitely see the run game with Haskins having an upside on that matchup.
Yep.
So yeah, and as you can tell, he's only 2% owned. So
Mm-hmm.
he's definitely out there in the waiver wire for pickup. And considering that, Hampton's going to be out for the next 4 months, or excuse me, 4 games.
4 weeks.
Yeah, four
Yep.
weeks rather at a minimum. Um, that has a lot of upside right there.
Yeah, agreed. And there's also Vidal. He's out there as well, but I think he's mainly been playing special teams so far, returning the kicks and maybe the punts. So I think the two of them will kind of share that backfield, but I would lean toward Hassan Haskins as being the bell cow.
Yes, yes. Unless he drops the ball right before the end zone.
Right. Yeah, like DeMarcado did.
Mercado,
Yep.
yep, and lose the job, right? So I mean, it's
Yeah.
there for the taking.
Yep.
So,
Exactly. Well, next man up. Let's see how it goes. And
yep,
so if you
yep,
can't, and if you don't happen to get Hassan Haskins, you can always look to Rico, 59% owned. After that 206-yard explosion, 23 attempts and a touchdown. We also caught 3 out of 4 targets for 28. Had a fantastic fantasy day, so he's probably going to be somebody people are going to look to if they don't already have him. 59% owned for Rico. He's got the Cowboys coming up. That's going to be a revenge game for him, Marcus. You remember him playing for our Cowboys
yep,
last week,
yep, yep.
and so I've got a feeling that they're going to continue to rest Chuba and let Rico have his revenge game against the Cowboys. So I would expect at least a 20-point fantasy game from him this coming week, assuming that Hubbard stays out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, right now Hubbard is trending to play this week, but absolutely. I mean, again, Rico Dowdle is one potential injury away from running the rock again. So, and it sort of
Yep.
be like a Stephon Diggs revenge game, right?
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
Where he blew up with 10 catches and about 146 yards, I believe, in that game. He didn't get any touchdowns,
Yeah.
but he was
Right.
definitely a big piece. So if Hubbard is down, I would definitely put Rico Dowdle in because you're going to have that revenge game against the Cowboys. Now, on the flip side of that coin, the Cowboys D is looking pretty good too. I mean, they're going in the right direction at least, right? I mean, they still got a lot of points scored against them. They got some working pieces in the run game on the defense side, but yeah, I think that's going to be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah. The Cowboys seem to be putting it together a little bit more than they have earlier. They were effective against the pass, with the wide receivers last week, but I think it was Breece Hall gouged the Cowboys for about 142 yards on the ground. So they haven't quite shored up their run D quite yet.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on that and see if Rico gets to tote the rock again in his revenge game.
Yep.
But if you can't find Rico, there's another option out there. Michael Carter, he did pretty well for the Cardinals. Looks like they're down to their third running back. They had lost Connor, and then who was the other guy that you got, Marcus?
Ben,
Benson.
Benson.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
So they're down Connor, down Benson, and
Yeah.
third man up.
Yeah.
Looks like.
As you can tell, I mean, a lot of these teams are going pretty deep and even, calling people up from the practice squad, right? Because it's
Hmm.
just, they're just being riddled with injuries in a particular position. Case in point, the
Yep.
Cardinals. I mean, they've lost two major running backs, and yeah, and now they're going to their third round, and then even I think they're calling up people from the practice squad. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, Michael Carter might be a good option. I mean, again, uh, it all depends on the matchup with the Cardinals, right? Right now, I think the quarterback Kai Murray is a little banged up as well. So,
Hmm.
especially when you're one dimensional with only the run game, for instance, and you don't have a good balanced offense, it's going to be difficult to get one started without the other.
Yeah. Yeah. Looks like Tennessee was a good matchup. They've got Indy coming up, which may be a little bit tougher. But we'll see if Carter continues to perform well. I think that DeMarcado is probably going to be a bit in the doghouse after that fumble where he had a breakaway touchdown.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Or it could motivate them, right,
Hmm.
to run like a
Yep.
dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's right. That's right. And so there's another option out there, Ricard White. He's owned in 76%, so probably won't be out there on any waiver wires, but had a good performance against Seattle. Ran the rock 14 times for 41 yards and two touchdowns. He caught 4 out of 4 passes for 30 yards, and so he's out there in 24% of the leagues.
yes,
So.
yes. I was hoping that he would mess up because I had the next guy behind him.
Hmm.
Uh, but unfortunately, yeah, White just kept that rock and did great things against Seattle. So
Yeah.
I think that was the reason why. Again, the waiver wire was a little was was pretty barren out there. So,
Yep.
but yeah,
Yeah.
you're right though. It's going to be very difficult to find Rashad White, but nevertheless, if you can, grab him because he's going to
Yep.
be a good
Yeah.
option with a lot of upside tick.
Yeah, I think Bucky's going to probably miss one more game, and then he'll probably be back. So this is going to be a pretty short time as the lead back, but I think he's got one more week in him. So
Yeah. Bucky Irvin, I think is scheduled to come back in a couple weeks.
yep,
Probably rest a couple
exactly.
of weeks.
So
Yeah.
let's see how he does against San Fran. And so there's let's move on to wide receivers. We've got this guy Romeo
Romeo
Dubs.
Dobbs. Yeah.
He had a dynamite game. I think was that Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football? I forget which, but he ended up having a good game. Got 8 targets, caught 6 of them for 58 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he was their touchdown machine against Dallas in the last game. So just
Yeah.
coming off a bye, so I think a lot of people might have forgotten about that performance, considering we just had action in Week 5. But he's out there in 60% of the leagues, only owned in 40, so he might be a good answer for you if you need wide receiver
If
help.
any wide receiver. Yeah, agreed. I mean, again, the quarterback. I don't think he's. Yeah, that was always funny. But I mean, Jordan Love, I think spreads the wealth a lot on targets, but definitely an upside with Dobbs. But I mean, there's a lot of options on that receiving crew for Green Bay. But they
Yeah,
are
yeah,
looking pretty good. I mean, you can, Jordan Love is, I would say plus with their strong defense, right? I think that's on. Yep, that's on your list too. So that's a good.
yes,
That's good complementary football right there.
agreed. Yeah, Love should have no time finding him or no trouble finding him with that big helmet.
No, yeah, yeah, with the extra padding, yeah. That's a funny one.
So another guy that caught my eye was Bourne. He's looks like he was reborn in San Fran.
Hmm.
He's had a dynamite game, man. Caught 10 out of
Wow,
11
Raider.
grabs for 142 yards. He looked fantastic this past outing. I think that was the Thursday night game, right?
Yeah, yeah. Against the Rams. Yep, exactly.
So we'll have to
Yeah.
keep an eye on Pearsall and see if he comes back. And there's another guy too. I think is it Juan Jennings. And so I think the combination of them two being out is what opened the door for Bourne
Yeah, for Bourne.
to get going.
And then also too, keep in mind, I know Ayuk is still on do not play list, which,
Hmm.
but I think he's trending to come back here pretty soon.
Yeah. I think he did the 4 weeks on IR, and so I'm not sure. I haven't heard any news yet whether or not they opened up the practice window. But usually they open up that practice window, and you got 21 days to to practice and prove you're able to get back on the field.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
not sure if they've opened that window for him or not. But if Bourne gets another opportunity as the wide receiver one, he could be a good target to go after Marcus for another shootout with Tampa Bay. So this could.
yeah. And I think Mac Jones and Bourne actually, have a really good connection, as you can tell from that last game. But
Hmm.
again, I mean, it's the wide receiver um, crew at 49ers. I mean, they're riddled with a lot of questionable injuries moving forward. But that's a big thing to watch with Bourne's targets.
Yeah, yeah. Him and Mac Jones played together for the Patriots, and so they got a pretty good connection.
Yep, exactly, exactly.
So, so yeah.
Speaking of
So
which,
Bourne's
Patriots
Bourne.
looked good last night too, or last this past weekend.
Right. Yeah. So his availability will be contingent upon the other two receivers, whether or not they get going
Yeah, agreed,
or are back.
agreed.
And then another guy that caught my eye last night was Trey. Is it Tyquan Thornton for
Yep.
the Chiefs? He did pretty good last night. Only had 3 targets, but caught all three of them for 90 yards. So had a good game against
That's some nice
Jacksonville.
production. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And
And
then I
he's
think one of the receivers, right, at Kansas City went down, right?
yeah. I think Worthy was down for a bit, but he ended up coming back, and so he ended up finishing the game. But he exited for a little while and came back out after halftime. So, but he's always seems to be a little banged up. But with Thornton here, he's been a touchdown machine. He scored touchdowns every week, 2, 3, and 4. So he could be due for another touchdown. If
Yeah, agreed. I would like to see his targets to go up a little bit,
hmm
to be a little more safer bet. But it seems like he's really you know, a TD sort of flex option, right? It's
Yep.
sort of risk. I mean, again, if you got to if you don't have a deep bench, then I think it'd be a risky flex option,
Yeah.
but it's definitely there. It's
Yeah,
definitely
agreed.
there.
This just happens to be a week where the waiver wire pool out there on the is a little thin, a little light on wide receivers. For some reason, we have some pretty good options for running back, which is rare. It's usually the running backs that are hard to find. But with all the running back injuries, we seem to have some options on running backs, and wide receivers are a little barren in the cupboard.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
So we've got Rashid Rice coming back week 7. So this may be another one-hit wonder opportunity for old Thornton, because once Rice gets back in the fold, I think he's going to be pushed to the sidelines or at wide receiver 3 at best.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Agreed. Yeah. You'll definitely see a downtick in his target. I mean, as you can tell, I mean, he's really a TD upside here if he doesn't get a TD. And, as you can see in week 4 against Baltimore, he only had 2 targets.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So we'll
But
see,
it's
but.
it's definitely it's definitely a player to keep an eye on, especially if your bench is looking a little thin or you got a lot of injuries, as I said before, right?
Hmm.
I'm definitely falling victim of injuries in these last 2 or 3 weeks, and it's been pretty tough.
Yep. Well, things are actually starting to open up on the tight end front. So we've got Evan Ingram. He had a bit of a slow start to the season. I ended up drafting him in our neighborhood league, Marcus, and or no, it wasn't that league. It was another league, the Cibolo League. But anyway, I wasn't very happy with him to start the season. Ended up dropping him, but he came back, got 4 out of 6 targets for 33 yards and scored a touchdown. So this guy could be an option for you if you need a tight end.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. I like I like him and Bo Nix, right? I think Bo Nix is
Mm-hmm.
getting a little more comfortable. He's spreading the ball around. I mean, Evan Ingram, just pound for pound. I mean, he's a very athletic player, right? I mean, he
Yep.
played. I think he played at the Jacksonville, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Before
and
that, the Giants. Yeah.
yep, yep. And so I like him. I like him. If you dropped him, I'll definitely look on there and pick him up because I think Cardinals are coming on a bye here pretty soon, and I'm going to start looking around for a tight end.
Yeah.
Um, so he's definitely a good. If you got some room on the bench, he's definitely a good stash for a good matchup for tight ends.
Yeah, 48% rostered, so he's out there in about half the leagues. And so if you can't seem to find Evan Ingram, there are a few other options that are out there right now. I know Waller has been turning it on, only 67% owned. I ended up picking him up in my Cibolo league, and he's been dynamite these past 2 weeks, 17 and 18 fantasy points. He caught all of his targets Sunday for 78 yards and another touchdown. So he's been picking up pretty good.
Yeah,
Not a bad tight end.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's a big target.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
And with Tyreek Hill going down, the Dolphins are needing somebody to throw to, so
yeah.
he's
Exactly.
opportunity there.
Yeah, exactly. Now Waddle's obviously going to be WR1. You got A chain, but you can definitely see, as you said before, Hill going down out for the season.
Mm-hmm.
Waller's target is going to go in an upward direction,
Yep. So
especially in the red zone.
yes, exactly. He's a great red zone target. So we'll see how if he continues to produce. His schedule gets a little tougher with
Yeah,
the Chargers.
yeah, Chargers, the Browns. I mean, he's facing some pretty decent defenses, and then he obviously has Buffalo in Week 10. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore, maybe playing, good matchup with Baltimore. Looks like that
Yeah.
might. So, but nevertheless, yeah,
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he's able to keep the magic going. So if you can't find Waller, we've got Mason Taylor. This guy ain't too bad for the Jets. He saw 12 targets, Marcus, on Sunday, caught 9 of them for 67 yards, and so he's definitely seeing the looks.
yes. I just think because quarterback was always checking down.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, he was in garbage time comeback mode the whole game against the Cowboys.
Yeah,
So he
yeah.
was seeking out targets. But he's got double-digit fantasy points the past 2 weeks. So let's see if this can continue. He's got a bit of a tougher matchup coming up on Sunday morning out there in Europe. So playing the Denver Broncos, which
Yeah.
is a pretty tough defense. So it's not the best matchup, but if you're desperate for a tight end, this might be your guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Plus, also too, they got to acclimate to the time zone and
Time
whatnot.
zone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So being on uh, I don't know if they're going to get out there early, but I mean, again, that's just another element to consider as well.
Yes.
But as for long term, he potentially looks like a good candidate to put on your bench if you got some room.
Yeah, if these targets continue at that rate, then this guy could be a good pickup.
Oh, agreed.
So
I agreed.
only 13% rostered, and there's one final tight end I've had my eye on, Jake Tongs. He's been doing pretty good since Kittle went down.
Yeah.
He saw 11 targets, caught 7 of them for 41 yards and another touchdown. Looks like he scored touchdowns the past 2 weeks, 3 in total on the season. This is he's benefiting, of course, from Kittle going out. I have Kittle in one of our leagues, and he he's missed the 4 games. He went down week 1. He missed weeks 2 through 5, and it doesn't sound like he's ready to come back week 6. So if you need a tight end, Jake might be your guy against Tampa. This could be another game that's a shootout. So this guy's got some good opportunity for at least week 6.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, his stock's going to go down when Kittle comes back
Oh
also.
yeah, yeah. Not a long term option, but I've got a league where I have Kittle, and he's been on my IR seat, and I've been rolling with Juwan Johnson, and so I raised dropped him this morning, and I'm
Oh,
done,
yeah, yeah,
done with him.
yeah. Until we
Yeah,
talk
with
about him next week.
Yep, exactly. So I think I'll maybe pivot to Jake for a week until Kittle comes back, and then drop him and put Kittle back in.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Sounds like a fair plan.
so let's talk a little bit about
The,
some defenses
some
to
defense, yeah.
stream. I'm of the mind, Marcus, that I don't necessarily stick with one defense and just ride the highs and lows. I like to stream defenses based upon their matchup. If they're going up against a shitty offense, then stream a defense and see where it goes. Unless I happen to luck into a great defense, like in one of those leagues where I typically stream, I landed on the Broncos, and so I went ahead and kept them. Even played them against the Eagles on Sunday, and that actually worked out pretty decently. But I'm going to stick with the Broncos in that league. But my other 3 leagues, I typically stream defenses, and so I look for some opportunity. Green Bay comes to mind. They've got the Bengals coming up at home, a home game Sunday afternoon, and so they've been doing pretty solid, against Detroit, Washington, and Cleveland. They slipped up, of course, against the Cowboys. That ended up being the 40-40 shootout. Went to overtime. Ended up being a tie. But this defense with Parsons, they they could put it to the Bengals that their backup quarterback has been throwing a ton of interceptions. I think he's thrown at least 6 so far this season, maybe more.
Yeah, Brown is
So,
having a tough transition back into that number one role. So you
hmm
definitely see a lot of opportunities for the Packers. Yeah, I had the Packers D, and I dropped them. But yeah, if they're on the waiver wire, that's a good pick. I think honestly, I think I lost that opportunity, but I
yeah,
decided to come
well, they
back.
had a bye, so I don't blame you for dropping them.
Yeah. I needed some room somewhere else. So,
Yeah, well, maybe you can go and scoop them back up. And if you
preferably.
can't find them, another opportunity is the Redskins. They had a great game against the Chargers. A lot of people thought the Chargers were going to beat them, but they ended up scoring 17 fantasy points against the Chargers. Held them to 10 total points. Sacked Jaden Daniels 5 times, got an interception, and recovered a fumble. So they got Dan Quinn. Remember him? He was with the Seahawks, then he came over to the Cowboys, and
Yep.
was a pretty good defensive minded coach, and so I think he's been gearing these guys up. They're playing the Bears, and so I'm not sold on the Bears quarterback Caleb. I think Caleb still makes a ton of mistakes. I think he's prone to getting sacked, prone to fumbling, maybe tossing an INT. So I think that the Redskins might be able to handle the Bears. It's a home
Yeah.
game for them.
I think that's a fair matchup, right? I mean, if I had to pick, I think Washington's going to take that win. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Bears does have uh, some weapons over there, as far as a Dunze, and so it's definitely going to be a tough matchup. But
Yeah,
but you're right. I think Washington's D is going to be an integral element to that win moving next week. So
yeah. I would normally be a little shy on this one, but after seeing what they just did to the Chargers, I think that they should be able to hold their ground. So.
agreed. And Chargers have been pretty hot. I mean, they did
Mm-hmm.
lose their second string running back, but again, that's the NFL for you any given Sunday, right?
Yes, sir. And
So
they got some hot wide receivers with with Keenan Allen coming on, and then of course McDonkey, and then that other guy that's been pretty solid so far this season.
Yep. Yep.
So, all right. Well, if you can't find the Packers or the Redskins, you can always move over to New England. Only owned in, I think, 16% of the leagues. They've got the Saints coming up, and then they've got Tennessee, then they got Cleveland. So they got a pretty solid schedule. So if you can find the Patriots, you might want to grab them up, Marcus, and roll with them for a while. It looks like they've got double-digit fantasy points in 4 out of 5 games so far, and a cupcake schedule coming up.
Yeah.
So this,
Yeah. Other than Tampa Bay, yeah. I mean, and maybe the Falcons, but yeah, you're right. I mean,
yep.
yeah.
Yeah, this would be a good one to grab and then just roll with for a little while and see
Hold
how it
on to them.
goes.
Yeah, hold on to them. Yeah, they look really good against Buffalo.
They did. Yeah, they looked
That's.
fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big rivalry matchup, but they look really good.
Hmm.
And they
Yeah,
shut them down.
they sure did, man. Yeah, this looks like an elite defense. So if you can find, I'm surprised they're only 16% rostered. So if you can find them, I think a lot of people dropped them with the Bills coming up. They get scared them off, but they ended up doing great. So. And
Yeah.
then one last option is the Raiders. This one I don't necessarily have a whole lot of faith in, Marcus. They just got negative 3 points against Indianapolis, but they do have Tennessee coming up. And so if you're desperate for a defense, they could do pretty well against the Titans. The Titans haven't looked that good lately. So,
No, plus that Cam Ward is he's not looking too good right now. So I mean, there's definitely a lot of opportunities for sacks and fumbles. Um,
yeah.
I don't think there's really anybody that's really sort of separating from the pack at Tennessee. I mean, you got Pollard over there, right? I mean, sometimes he'll have his moments, but yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, that might be a good matchup if you look, as you said, in your leagues, you look for that stream and D, right? As far
Yes.
as a good matchup, this might be a one-time thing because I mean, then they got Kansas City in the next week, then they got to bye, then Jacksonville, then Denver, and then Dallas.
Yeah.
That's going to be a pretty tough schedule.
Oh yeah, yeah. This would be a 1 week opportunity, and that's it. And then you're gonna dump them and never
Yep.
look back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So
So,
that's it for defenses. But as far as the priority goes, I would probably say the Patriots would be the top priority, and then maybe the Packers, then the Redskins, and then if you're desperate, the Raiders.
yes, yes. If you have no other options out there,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yep,
pick up the Raiders for
exactly.
the week. Yep, exactly.
Well, let's close it out. I've got a couple kickers I've had my eye on. I've been rolling with the boss in a couple of my leagues. I had to drop him because he had a bye last week, but he's been a pretty consistent kicker. Hasn't been that solid the weeks 3 and 4, but he started off hot with double-digit fantasy points. And going back to last year, he was a solid kicker. I ran with him. I think he scored the most points of any kicker. I'm not sure about Aubrey. Maybe him and Aubrey going neck to neck. And
Going
then, of
toe to
course, we
toe.
had
Yeah.
Chase McLaughlin doing great. But he was up there in the top 3 in my mind. So I think he could have some good opportunities with his leg with Cleveland coming up. I know Cleveland's got a great defense. I know Aaron Rodgers is definitely capable of getting the ball on the other side of the 50. And then if they stall out in the red zone, I think it might be time for the boss to kick one in.
Yeah, 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 no, agreed, agreed. I mean, I got some good kickers. I got Chase and Aubrey actually in all my leagues. So,
Yeah, you're
but
set.
yeah, I'm
Yep.
pretty much set with kickers unless I get a bye. But Boswell is definitely a favorable pickup. You can see the Steelers' offense, trending in the right direction. You guys said Aaron Rodgers is looking really good, um, but looking for those opportunities for for those field goals. I can see Bos, and as you can see, I mean, his uh, his kicking percentage is high 90s.
Yeah.
Rarely misses, so
Yep.
he's pretty
Exactly.
automatic. He's pretty automatic
Yeah.
when it comes to
Yeah. He's
kicking.
a solid kicker. And so last kicker we got is Joey Sly.
Joey Sly
He
looking
uh,
looking good with
he,
that
he had a
beard.
bum game against Houston. Yeah. Houston ended up Houston's got a great defense, and so they ended up skunking the Titans to 0 points. But other than that, he's been good throughout the year. Double-digit points every week except for week 4. And so he's got Vegas coming up. I think they should be able to move the ball against Vegas. And so I know we were just talking about the Raiders D being a good defense, But if they can hold Tennessee to mainly field goals, this could be your guy.
Yeah, well, at least for the week. Yeah, yeah, agreed. Yeah,
Yep.
it looks like he has a good matchup with the Raiders. So,
Yeah.
but then looking at his schedule, you might get another goose egg against the Pats, Patriots, and the Colts.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So this, yeah, wouldn't necessarily be a good long-term solution, but he's been delivering, and so if your kicker just happens to be on bye, I'm not sure if there are any buys week 6, but if there are and you need a spot start, Joey Sly could be your guy.
I like the slogan.
Yep.
Joey Sly could be
So,
a guy. Yep, yep, yeah, yeah. Yeah, agreed.
well, that's all we got for today, Marcus.
Yeah, another successful. Trust me, bros. I like it.
Yes, sir. Well,
So
thank you, brother. I appreciate you stepping in and helping out this week. So, good luck on your waiver wire pickups this coming Wednesday morning and moving forward. And hopefully, you get some good help for your squad and end up winning your matchups this weekend.
yeah, I appreciate it, man. You too, man.
All right, Marcus. Thank you, brother.
All right, later, bro.
Bye.
Bye.